Chapter 44. Keel's eyes opened to the science soldiers standing on all sides of him, powerful robotic arms holding him down. Wait, what happened? He said, struggling against the robots. Ah, you're awake, said a voice, and Dr. Moretti leaped forward, his face stopping just inches from Keel's. Finally, I wanted to wait to actually open the vault until you'd be here to see it too. Don't do this, Moretti, Keel said, staring at the doctor with fury in his eyes. You can't! Billions will die! Say it, Keel, Dr. Moretti said, turning back to the boy's magician. Say it! Say what? Tell me to have a heart, Dr. Moretti shouted, then broke into minuscule laughter. Yikes, Owen said to Bethany as they read the final Keel Nomenfoot book together. That was awful. I wish she'd say something to Mr. Potterhouse about his puns. Shh, I'm reading, Bethany told him. Listen, and this is part of the book that he's reading. Listen to me, Keel said. They're innocent people who did nothing to you. I can't let you do this. Actually, you can, Dr. Moretti said. The bomb's prepared and just needs a power source. Now, where did I put my source again? He grinned. Ah, yes, right behind this door. He gestured behind him as he was pulling aside a curtain. Ta-da! See, I can do magic too. Behind the doctor lay a door with 7 locks. Each had a different size and connected to a large glowing energy bands that spread over the entire door. It was almost impossible to tell them looking at them if they were electricity or magic. But either way, the energy looked deadly. Want to do the honors? Dr. Moretti asked. Or are you all tied up? Did he make these crazy person kind of jokes? Bethany asked Owen. He's a mad scientist, Owen said with a shrug. This is the mad part. Keel just gritted his teeth, struggling against his bonds. So the doctor shrugged and struck the first key into the lock. Ah, fresh from a dragon's hoard, he said, sniffing the key. You can really smell the fact that this dragon's not going to exist in about 2 minutes. I know forbidden magic, Moretti, Keel said. I'll use it if I have to. Ha ha ha, Dr. Moretti said, holding up what looked like a tiny box with a large red button on it. Remember, you're not the one with the robot. You're the one with the robot heart. Shouldn't make a deal with the devil if you can't pay the price, boy. And he laughed. I added a little part of my own during the surgery. If I ever hear a word of magic, just one word, I'll push this button and your new little heart goes boom. Wait, what? Owen said. The robot heart is in my chest, not in the actual real Keel's? If he pushes it, will my heart explode out here? Huh, of course not, Bethany said. Maybe he won't push it. Oh, he's gonna push it, Owen said, and he shouted at the pages, Keel, stop him! You know he can't hear you, right? Well, I'm the one whose heart might explode, so he better hear me. I wouldn't dare, Keel said to Dr. Moretti as the scientist turned the second key. We had a deal. This key was hidden in the future, wasn't it? Dr. Moretti said, ignoring Keel. I hear that there are interesting news reports there. Something about how did you die of a broken heart. Keel screamed in frustration. I won't let you have this happen. The third key clicked in the lock. Oh, but you already did. You've done this all for me. Finding the keys, playing the role of the dangerous criminal to convince the Corringtons that the magistrate was on the verge of revolt. Everything I needed, you did. He glanced around from between the third and the fourth keys. Now which one was melted, then hidden in the ice of the lair of the ice giants? I can never remember. Keel closed his eyes and began to cast a spell. No, Owen shouted, then grabbed his heart protectively. What did I say? Dr. Moretti screamed. Then he pushed his button over and over. Die, Keel Nomenfoot, die! But nothing happened. Bethany grinned and patted the now breathing Owen on his shoulder. Keel laughed, and his bindings burned in a green fire, releasing him. Oh, are these things not going as planned? Dr. Veretti raised an eyebrow, then pushed the button several more times. What's wrong with this thing? He said, banging it against a nearby robot. Keel mumbled the rest of his spell, and the science soldiers fell apart at their joints. How did you do that? Dr. Veretti said, his eyes wide. You've never been able to use magic against science that easily before. Oh, I can do a lot of things I've never done before, Keel said, his eyes burning a cold green. He held out his hands, and the robotic parts of the science soldiers slowly pulled back together. Soon the robots rose, zombie-like, and turned towards Dr. Veretti. Oh, come on, the scientist said, and he made a cutting motion with his hand. Instantly, the zombified robots crumbled to the ground. Not that old trick. I haven't seen that in 1,000 years, but I've got these things programmed to stop at a signal. You'll have to do better than that. Keel mumbled another spell, and green energy shot straight for Dr. Veretti. The scientist just snorted, and the spell sprayed off an invisible bubble surrounding him. Really? Magic on me? Don't you get it, Keel? I came from Asteria too. I have all the protection I could ever need. Charm spells, protection spells, everything a growing boy would want. All to keep idiots like you from coming anywhere near me. What about idiots like me? Said a voice from behind Dr. Veretti. A metal science soldier's arm slammed into Dr. Veretti, knocking him to the ground. The doctor looked up with a dazed expression to find a second Keel Nomenfoot standing behind him with a big grin on his face, and just one energy band left on the vault door. The 7th key. This was new, Keel said, holding up the large red key. It had to come from a heart given selfishly, which mine wasn't. You remember that deal we made? The one where I gave up the key to save my life? That's pretty much the definition of selfish, isn't it? Your key never would have worked. He glanced at the key in his hand. This one, though, comes from a friend of mine who wasn't using his heart for much longer. After it had just been started beating again today, he offered, selfishly, I might add, and I figured out why not. But, Dr. Veretti said, and he glanced behind him, only to find that the first Keel now resembled a half-flesh skeleton wearing a lab coat. Nice to meet you, the first magician said. The first magician, Owen said, his eyes wide, but that was me in there. Then you took me out and put Keel in. When did? It was a plot hole, Bethany told him. Jonathan Porterhouse told me all about it. You get the first magician's heart beating, and then don't use it before it falls apart anyway. It just seemed wasteful, so I went back and grabbed the first magician, and I brought him forward after a quick disguise spell. Owen just stared at her. So just so I'm clear on this, you let me get a robotic heart when I could have just asked for the first magician to give up his heart instead? Well, it seems to be working okay, Bethany said, tapping his chest. Besides, it's like 1,000 times stronger, I bet. You'll live way longer than that thing. Owen just stared at her open-mouthed, and she winked. Keel, this fun has taken far too much out of me, the first magician said wearily. I wish you all the best, but I've done all I can. It was nice meeting you. The robotic girl and the other girl, and the one who... Right, Keel interrupted quickly. Me and the robotic girl, we enjoyed meeting you too. Thank you for your service, my friend. Keel saluted him, and the first magician smiled back, then crumbled to the ground, disappearing into dust. So much for you not getting mentioned in the books, Owen pointed out. Don't think I missed you saying my name already, Bethany said. Owen sighed. Saw that. Did you? No, screamed Dr. Veretti. You can't do this. There's something you don't know about the Magister. If you give him the source of magic, he'll use it to destroy Quarium, Keel said, tossing the 7th key from hand to hand. I know. I figured that out months ago. Who didn't see that coming? Dr. Veretti blinked. What? You knew? I know everything, Keel said, just like I know you tried to kill him, but failed. You can't know that, Dr. Veretti screamed. You weren't there. Part of knowing everything, Keel said, tapping his head. Don't worry, he's fine, and I've got on a good authority he won't be hurting anyone. No more than you will. Now, let's see what we've got here. He inserted the 7th key and clicked the final lock. The ground began to rumble as the enormous vault door began to slowly pull away from the wall, opening to reveal the source of magic, the origin of unnatural power in the entire universe, which apparently looked a lot like a small pile of books. No! Dr. Verdi screamed from the floor. Where is my power source? It has to be there. Keel stepped forward, picking up the pile of books and carefully carrying them out of the vault. Books? He said, his eyes full of wonderment and curiosity. Honestly, books? That's what was in there the whole time? After all of this, there were books in the vault of containment? He began to laugh harder and harder. That's amazing. I can't wait until she reads this. I wonder who he's talking about there, Owen said with a wide grin. Sounds like you two came pretty good friends. Shh, we're almost done, Bethany told him, her face turning red like a strawberry. That can't be it, Dr. Brady shouted and pushed himself to his feet, then past Keel.